Hi, my name is Aya. You're watching Aya Reads, and I'm here to talk about my most anticipated 2024 new releases. Even though this title is going to be most anticipated releases of 2024, I'm actually focusing on the first 4 months of the year, so January, February, March, and April, simply because I already have so many new releases in the first 4 months of the year. And I like doing these throughout the year as well because sometimes books get announced, especially indie books. They don't normally announce so far in advance. So first of all, I want to keep being excited about new releases, and I figured this is never going to be a well-rounded list if I just do everything at the beginning of the year. So it's going to be for the first 4 months of the year, and I divided it up in 3 different categories. The first one and the biggest ones are romances. So I have a bunch of romances that I'm very excited about. And then I have a category where it's just one book and it's a maybe. Maybe it will get announced, maybe it will be published then, and maybe it won't. And then I have the not romances to end on, because even though I'm predominantly a romance reader, I still love to read books in genres that are not romance. So yeah, I'll have timestamps below so you can skip parts. Also, this is going to be in its separate category. It's going to be in order of publication date. Oh, by the way, since I have so many, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on each book. I will have them all listed for you, the Goodreads pages. So if you're interested in one of these books, then definitely check the in-depth synopsis out. But I'm just going to keep it brief and keep it moving. So the first one is Sail Be Mine by Naina Kumar. This is 2 people who are sick and tired of their Indian family setting them up on dates and trying to matchmake them, so they decide to be fake engaged. So it's a fake dating romance. I love those, and the cover is really cute. And this one comes out on January 16th. Next is the first book in the new series by Laura Pavlov. So Laura Pavlov has been very popular recently, and I have been meaning to read a book by her, so I figured let's just start with her newest series so I can keep up with her new releases, because she's very rapid in her new releases, so that is good. So it's called Loving Romeo, and it's the first one in the Magnolia Falls series by her, and it comes out on January 18th. And this is a different social classes romance. So she is a Magnolia Falls royalty, and he's a boxer from the wrong side of the tracks. I love both covers. So I'm showing you the people cover now, but I believe the discreet cover, or the cover without any people on them, is a pair of boxing gloves, and I think it's done very well. So I'm very excited to read this one. Then on January 23rd, another fake dating book comes out, because it's literally called The Fake Dating Game by Timothy Janofsky. So this is a male romance. So this is about a guy who has recently, I believe he wants to audition for this game show, and he doesn't get hired, and so he's down on his luck, and then in his hotel room the concierge is trying to cheer him up, and I believe that is how they get together. Next is a very, very big one. It's of course House of Flame and Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. This one comes out on January 30th. So this is the 3rd book in the Crescent City series, and I cannot tell you anything about this synopsis because it's the 3rd book in a series. It will spoil the 1st and 2nd book. Also, I still have not read the 2nd book yet, which is going to happen very soon. So yeah, I cannot really tell you a whole lot about it. I can tell you about the first one, House of Earth and Blood. Basically, Crescent City is this urban fantasy series where humans live alongside all types of different paranormal creatures. You follow Bryce, and she recently lost her best friend, Danica. She's trying to deal with that, and then she gets assigned. They're trying to figure out who actually killed Danica, so she gets assigned this kind of cop, I guess, in this supernatural world, and his name is Hunt. He's a fallen angel, and they get together, and I really love the first book, and I was in a giant reading slump when trying to read the second one, so I just put it off, and now I have to read it because I really want to read House of Flame and Shadow when it comes out. And the last one for January is The Takeover by Kara Tanamachi. This cover is really cute. I love that color purple. It also comes out on January 30th, by the way. This sounds like very cute. So this basically, she just turned 30. Her fiance recently broke up with her, and she's just at a loss of what she wants to do. So on her 30th birthday, she makes this wish that she'll find her soulmate. But instead, the guy that she hated in high school, and they had this rivalry going on in high school, shows up. and obviously they're gonna fall in love. And I love this premise. I love this cover. Very excited. Bride by Ali Hazelwood, and this one comes out on February 6th, and this is her first foray into paranormal romance. So basically this is a romance between a giant, I'm sure, werewolf and a teeny tiny, I'm sure, vampire. I'm just excited. I believe she used to be a fan fiction author, and that is kind of that is when I'm reading her books, it does sometimes feel that way. So I think she'll do this kind of paranormal story very well. So very excited. Another one on February 6th is a love story for Ricky Wilde by Tia Williams. So I've never read a Tia Williams, but I do know that her other book, I believe 7 Days in June, I think. Let me see if I'm correct. Yeah. That one was very, very popular, and I just heard amazing things about that book. So, and this cover is just so beautiful. Okay, so this takes place in a leap year, which is amazing because 2024 is obviously going to be a leap year. And I already love I think I'm going to really love this writing because already the synopsis for it already has me intrigued, because just this one sentence: as the impulsive artistic daughter of the powerful Atlanta dynasty, she's the opposite of her famous socialite sisters. Where there are long-stemmed roses, she's a dandelion, an adorable bloom that's actually a weed born to float wherever the wind blows. What? I mean, I don't know if authors actually write their synopses, but if the book is anything like this sentence, I'm gonna love it, I know. So she's very rich. She comes from this rich, important family, and she's very different. And then one day on a leap year, she meets this handsome stranger, and it just sounds good. And like I said, I am in love with this cover. It's very pretty. Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey comes out on February 13th. So this is a sports romance with a hero that plays golf, which I've never read a book with a golfing hero. Well, I mean, that is actually his profession. So basically he doesn't have any fans. He wants to throw in the towel, but he has this one girl who's his actual fangirl, and then he gets in contact with her and they start a relationship. Tessa Bailey has been switching over to reading or writing more sports romances, so I'm very interested to see her take on that. Next, on February 13th, is How You Get the Girl by Anita Kelly. I do have to say, I don't know if maybe my Swiftie brain is just linking everything to her, but I just feel like lately, a couple titles of books are just Taylor Swift lyrics or song titles. And maybe it's just me assigning that to those books because maybe the authors have not, that's not even on their mind. But I don't know. It's just me, maybe because I've been listening to a lot of Taylor Swift lately, and I just assign, because there was a Christmas novel that came out this year that's called Wreck My Plans, which I get, like, that's a sentence. It doesn't necessarily mean that the author is actually a Swiftie, but I just like, I don't know. Anyway, that was a tangent. Let's move on. So this is about a high school basketball coach who falls in love with one of her students' mothers. And that mother used to be like a famous basketball player. This sounds so good. I love that. I have been meaning to get, even though neither of them are actually current basketball, they don't currently actually play professional basketball. I've been meaning, since I read The Right Move, to read more basketball romances. So this one could be good. Next, on another one on February, a lot of books actually come out on February 13th, I do have to say. Another one that comes out on February 13th is At First Spite by Olivia Dade. So I have been meaning to read an Olivia Dade, but I wasn't very interested in her, that popular series with fan fiction and famous people. That's not really, I don't really love reading about like fan culture, stuff like that. And famous people I also sometimes have issues with if they're not athletes. But this one sounds very interesting. So this is about a woman who basically, she has a fiance, I think. Yeah, a fiance, and he lives here, and then his brother lives here, but in between them is another house, and she decides to move into that house, and then her fiance breaks up with her, and she thinks, or she knows, that it's his brother that is the reason. So she's, out of spite, she's not willing to sell this apartment, so she's still living there. And then at one point, she and the brother start having a thing. I just love that. I love siblings, exes, stories. I don't know why, but I do. And I believe this also has older main characters, which I also really like. And the last one on February 13th is Not Your Crush's Cauldron by April Asher. So this is actually the third book in a series. I haven't read the first two, but since I was just looking around for new releases, this just sounds so good. Listen, I love these kinds of contemporary with magic stories because I'm like the biggest fan of Charmed, and that is exactly what that is. Also, X Hex is also one I really love. As much as I really love paranormal romances where you're immersed in the paranormal world and everything around you is paranormal, I also love the opposite. It feels more cozy to me, where it's actually the real world and only a handful of people have magical powers. Maybe it's because that is my dream. I would love to have that, but anyway, this is basically a roommate romance, and he drives a motorcycle. She's a witch. Say less, honestly. Moving on. Another one I'm very, very excited about is another fantasy romance, and it's A Fate Inked in Blood by Daniel L. Jensen. It comes out on February 27th, and honestly, I don't need to know anything about this book because I really trust her fantasy romances. I really love the Bridge Kingdom series by her. I only read the first duology, so the first 2 books, but I really love those. And she's just become a favorite author of mine, so I'll read anything she will write, and I really want to read her young adult fantasies. Actually, I'm just like very excited. This is a Norse inspired series, and yeah, that is all I need to know, honestly. I trust Daniel L. Jensen, and I know I'm gonna pick this up as soon as I can. Another one that comes out on February 27th is Lore of the Wilds, which is a new fantasy romance, and I fell in love with the cover when I saw it. I don't 80% of why this is on here is because of the cover. This is so beautiful. Like, I am just so amazed by this cover. It's so gorgeous. It's about Faye. This 21-year-old woman is a human that is trapped in a forested prison. She makes a deal with the Fae Lord, but there's another one that she might have a thing with. Yeah, so as Lore, her name is Lore, by the way. As Lore navigates the hostile world outside, she's forced to rely on 2 Fae males to survive. 2 very different, very dangerous, very attractive Fae males. When undeniable chemistry ignites, she's not just in danger of losing her life, but her heart to the very creatures she can never trust. You know, maybe this is gonna be an MMF. If that is gonna be a thing, I am gonna be so excited about that. The last one in February is another one that also comes out on February 27th, and it's The Partner Plot by Christina Forrest. So Christina Forrest actually wrote, what was that book called? That I was sure was gonna make it in the Goodreads Choice Awards, but it didn't. The Neighbor Favor. I heard amazing things about that, and I will be reading The Neighbor Favor in the beginning of next year. But this is, I believe, her second book. Let me actually see before I... No, it's not, but I think it's her second adult romance. But this is a second chance romance where former high school sweethearts get a chance at love again. And I believe it's a Married in Vegas, obviously, because that is literally the cover of Married in Vegas storyline, which I love those, especially combining that with a second chance romance. Yes, sign me up any day of the week. I also really love this cover. It's so colorful. I think she has great covers, I do have to say. Also, like, her YA covers are also very pretty. Now for March, the first one that I'm very excited about is This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. So this is actually the sequel to Before I Let Go, which I didn't read that book because I heard it was very sad. And I know Kennedy Ryan overall has like, her books are very emotional, but I've been meaning to read her books, so I figured so this one comes out in March. Before that, I do want to have read Before I Let Go. So this is about a woman whose partner has, I don't know, betrayed her, I think maybe cheated, I don't know, and she needs to figure out her life. She needs to keep it all together for her daughter, and then like a forbidden man comes into her life. Listen, this cover is drop dead gorgeous. I really love it. And I've been so, Kennedy Ryan is just a staple in the romance community, and I really need to read one of hers, so very excited about this. Next is Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage, and I still have not read Done and Dusted yet, but I'm in love with these covers. They are so beautiful, especially this one, Swift and Saddled. I love her hair, I love her clothes, I love this whole cover. It's a cowboy romance ever since Chestnut Springs, obviously. I think everybody has been in the mood for cowboy romances. And this is a city girl and cowboy, which, yes, I need this now. Next is Blitz by Daphne Perry. So this is the sequel to Coach, which I also have not read. But I've been meaning to read a Daphne Perry, and since I am in the mood for sports romance, I figured let's just put this on my anticipated releases. Maybe I'll get to it. This is a coach-student romance, so forbidden. Sign me up. This is a American football romance. On March 19th, In a Not So Perfect World by Neely Tubadi Alexander comes out. This sounds so good. So we follow a girl who's actually a game designer, which I like that. I've never read a book where, especially the female character, has that job. And so she has promised that she'll stay single, so she's very dedicated to her job. But then her neighbor needs a fake girlfriend to this trip in the Caribbean, so she decides to go. And this, once again, fake dating, which sign me up any day of the week. This sounds a little bit like the Unhoneymooners, which I love that book. And yeah, it sounds very good. Also, neighbor romances. I love that type of forced proximity. So sign me up, once again, any day of the week. Next is another one I'm very, very excited about. It is The Witch Queen of Halloween by Cressley Cole. It comes out on March 26th. And this is the 18.5 novel in her Immortals After Dark series. This one follows Rook. And yeah, I love the Immortals After Dark series. And even though Monroe was not my favorite, I love Cressley Cole's writing. I love this universe, and I'm very excited about it. I do need to do some research because even though I really want to reread the entire Immortals After Dark series, I think I'm gonna stick to rereading the books where Rock was featured. So if you know that, definitely let me know, and otherwise I'll just have to do the research. And the last one for March, it comes out on March 26th, and it's The Boyfriend Subscription by Stephen Salvatore. Are you a secret Salvatore brother, Stephen? Like, are you the brother of Damon and Stefan? Anyway, Stefan and Stephen, could you imagine? Anyway, moving on. This cover, yes. So another male-male romance. So this is another fake dating romance, and it is another different social classes, as you can sort of see by this cover. So one of them is like this working man, and the other one is like this rich entrepreneur. And yes, please, I love this cover and I love the premise. Now for April, listen, April, I'm not gonna have any money left because a lot of books are gonna come out in April, a lot of books that I've been anticipating, starting with April 2nd, which April 2nd, a lot of books come out. The first one, Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I think Abby Jimenez has a deal with her cover designer that there at all times has to be a dog on her covers. Basically, this is a story about these two people, and basically both of them have this curse where they are the last ones their exes date before they meet the person they settle down with. So they figured, let's date so that hopefully they'll cancel each other out and their curses will be broken. This sounds so good. I have read 2 Abby Jimenez books and I've loved both of them, so very excited about this one. Next is The Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Songu Mandana. I'm not really sure it's a straight up romance, but I do know that her books have romances in them and I really want to read it. I have not read the other one yet, the Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, but I just love the covers and the premise. Once again, like this witch in like the regular world. Love that. And this cover is very pretty. So this takes place in an inn, and she, like, I think she gets together with one of the guests, and yes, please sign me up. Another one on April 2nd is Here We Go Again by Alison Cochrane. So this is a female-female relationship. So this is about 2 women who used to be best friends, and then something tore them apart. And then, so now they become rivals, but now their teacher from high school is dying, so she asks them to take a road trip, final road trip with her, and then they go and they'll fall in love on this road trip. Like, yes, I love that. Next on April 2nd is How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwong. I believe she's affiliated with Emily Henry in a way, so I believe this, even though it does say it's a romance, it might lean more towards like literary fiction, like women's fiction a little bit, but that's okay. Basically, these 2 used to be friends, I think. Then he moved away because I think her family blames him for a lot of stuff, and now they come back together again, but both of them deal with like things in their personal lives. He has panic attacks and she has imposter syndrome and she has writer's block, stuff like that. Yeah, I believe this is going to be a book that's going to be very, very highly publicized by the publisher, but I don't care. If her writing is anything like Emily Henry's, I'm sure I'm going to love it. Next is one, I believe this is my most anticipated new release, and it's Wild Love by Elsie Silver. So this one comes out on April 9th. And this is her new book in her new series called Rose Hill. And in this book, you follow the brother of Willa from Heartless in the Chestnut Springs series. So basically, this does tie in with Chestnut Springs. Basically, he's a billionaire and like this billionaire record company holder, I think. And now this little girl, a 12-year-old girl, comes to his house and tells him that she's his daughter. He has to deal with that, and then he falls in love with his brother's little sister, I believe. Or, oh my god, could you imagine? No, with his best friend's little sister. And it takes place in this tiny town called Rose Hill. And I'm just excited. Elsie Silver has fast become one of my favorite authors, and I will read anything this woman writes. Another one on April 9th is The Prospects by Katie Hoffman. And this is a male-male romance, sports romance, following two baseball players on the same team. Another one with a gorgeous cover. On April 16th, Late Bloomer by Maisie Eddings comes out. I love these like retro covers. They do it for me so good. So this is about a woman who recently won the lottery, and people just keep asking money and she keeps saying yes. And one day she's just tired of it, so she decides to pour all of her money into buying this like failing flower farm. But when she gets there, this angry woman awaits her and tells her that she's the rightful owner. So I'm sure they're gonna fall in love with each other. And like I said, this cover is everything I want and more. It's so beautiful. Then of course on April 23rd, Funny Story by Emily Henry comes out. Everybody and their mother is gonna read it. I'm sure this is once again gonna win the Goodreads Choice romance category, but I also keep reading them. Her fiance dumps her and gets together with his ex. So she decides to get a roommate, and that roommate is her ex-fiance's ex. Can you see the circle? The premise sounds very good. I love the cover. I love the color of the cover especially. And, you know, I like Emily Henry's books. I do have to say, I haven't loved every book. Like, I have one 5-star. And even though I've read all of them. So I believe for her adult romance, I think I've given one 3 stars, the other, and then 2 4 stars, and then 1 5-star. So, yeah. But this is roommates turned lovers, which that is one of my favorite tropes. I love that. Another that is highly anticipated for me is King of Sloth by Anna Huang. So this is the 4th book in her Kings of Sin series. So each one follows a different deadly sin, and this one is Sloth. I only read one book, and it's King of Pride, but King of Sloth was very well set up in that book. So basically, you have Sloane who needs to keep Xavier in line, and so he has no interest in taking over his family empire, and he is very lazy, I guess. And then she's a publicist and she needs to deal with him, and then they fall in love. It sounds good. Like I said, I thought that I was very interested in their story when I read King of Pride. Then another one of those witchy books set in a contemporary setting is Happy Medium by Sarah Adler. Okay, I do have to say, this is not actually a witch. This is a con woman that needs to convince this farm owner that his farm is haunted, and then they fall in love. Listen, this sounds hilarious to me, and I love that. And then the last romance is Truly Madly Deeply by Alexandra Bellafleur. Look at this cover, and don't you think he looks very similar to that guy from Stranger Things? Steve from Stranger Things. I think the hair, I really love the cover. I think Alexandra Bellafleur has beautiful covers, because I also really loved her cover for Fiancé Farce. So this is about this hopeless romantic falling in love with his divorce lawyer, which sounds very good. I've been meaning to read Alexandra Bellafleur. I think the Fiancé Farce is going to be my first one by her, but yeah, I'm just very excited. So yeah, these are all the romances that are set in stone. They are definitely going to come out on or around the dates that I said they're going to come out. The one that is a maybe is The Bride Bed by Tessa Dare. This book has been pushed back and pushed back. I'm not even sure it's gonna come out, but Amazon says it's gonna come out either in January or February. Goodreads says January 15th. So I don't know, I'm holding my hopes up. I have read the rest of the series, but like I said, I'm not holding my breath. This is the 4th and final book in her Girl Meets Duke series. The first one is The Duchess Deal. I'm sure a lot of you have read that series, or at least a couple books from that series, so I'm just going to swiftly move on to the not romances. Some of them do have romantic elements, by the way. The first one being A Fragile Enchantment, which comes out on January 2nd. And this is a young adult. It is romance. It's a young adult romance. But I figured since it's not adult, I'm going to put it in the not romance category. I am just really in love with this cover. It is so beautiful. So this is this Regency era fantasy romance, which I love those. Basically, it is a dressmaker that has to make a dress for this wedding, but she has amazing chemistry with the groom. Once again, say less. Next is The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Catherine Arden, which comes out on February 13th. So Catherine Arden wrote the Winter Night trilogy, the first one being The Baron and the Nightingale, and I read that book, and I wasn't the biggest fan, but I was very intrigued to reread that book one day and continue on, because I did really love her writing style, even though it was very dense. But this one, I feel like maybe I should read another book by her first and then see if I should continue on with that series. Basically, it is set in World War I, and it's a combat nurse in search for her brother. And then I believe, yeah, her brother is trapped with a German soldier, and I believe they're gonna fall in love. I mean, I love those stories, and I believe it does involve two love stories. The Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faisal. This one comes out on February 20th, and I believe this involves heists. And it's already been compared to Six of Crows, which, say no more, give me all of that. Yeah, that is all I need to know. Empire of the Damned by J. Christoph, as I'm turning into a pale vampire because of the sun. This one comes out on February 29th, and it's a sequel to Empire of the Vampire. Cannot really tell you a whole lot about this book because it's obviously a sequel. The first one it's a very, very dark novel following this dark world where vampires rule the world and humans are mere slaves, basically. And I read half of that book, but I was very, very intrigued by that book. It was so good already, and the illustrations in these books are beautiful. So I should really start reading that first book again and continue on with the sequel. Next, on April 2nd, is The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. So I heard not the best things about Five Survive, so I'm skipping that book. This one, however, sounds more like her first trilogy, which was called Good Girl's Guide to Murder, because this involves a true crime documentary, which I think that's gonna mean that it's gonna also be mixed media, which I love. I love those. And I think there was another book, the popular book that came out in 2023, Murder in the Family, and that was a similar storyline, and I did really like that. So yeah, very excited about this one. Hopefully it will be as good as her first books. Next is one I'm so excited about. It's Nosy Neighbors by Freya Sampson. Basically, this is about two neighbors, one like older 70-year-old and then a 25-year-old, and they don't really like each other, but then they realize that there's a murderer in their building, so they both together decide to keep an eye out and try to solve this murder. It sounds like the best type of cozy mystery. I've been meaning to get into that genre, and I think this is a very good entry point. Next is another one I'm very excited about. It's The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. Comes out on April 9th, and I've only ever read Leigh Bardugo's Grisha's World books, and I have never read Ninth House, but I am very interested in this one because I believe this is like a historical fantasy. So it takes place during the Spanish Golden Age, and to be honest, the only reason I want to read this is because of the author. So but I can actually tell you a little bit about the synopsis. Yeah, so basically she works for this noble family, but she has magical powers, and then one day her mistress realizes that, so she uses her to do these tricks for like these other noblemen, and eventually she even meets this Spanish king. Sounds good. This cover is just giving everything it has. This is just such a funny cover. I believe this is a horror book, and it takes place in 1999 in Texas, and I believe this is about this family that kills vampires. And like I said, the cover is just everything I could ever want for a book like that. And last but not least is One of Us Knows by Alyssa Cole. Oh, by the way, the other one will come out on April 9th, and the Alyssa Cole book will come out on April 16th. So this is, I believe, only her second thriller. She used to write romances. I don't think she writes romances anymore. Basically, this is about a woman who, yeah, listen, I'm just gonna tell you like the brief synopsis. Basically, this is a thriller about the new caretaker of a historical estate who finds herself trapped on an island with a murderer and the ghost of her past. Dun dun dun! Sounds good. Yeah, these are all the books that I am very much looking forward to that come out in the first 4 months of 2024. Definitely let me know in the comments below if you're excited about any of these, or maybe if you've read one of them already, definitely let me know. And definitely let me know if you're excited about a book that I have not mentioned yet. Let me know in the comments below. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely let me know by leaving a like if you did. And thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.